Welcome to this edition of Fellowship of the Sword. I'm Kenneth Deel and my wife,
Farah Deel.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we're going to talk about zombies tonight. And this is something you're always going to hear to people with popcorn and love for horror movies. And we talk about. We're talking about the real zombies, the possibility of a zombie apocalypse, something to sort of separate fact from fiction. They got some funny books at the bookstore. Yes. It's like a survivor's guide against the zombie apocalypse. And it's so funny.
My favorite is Shaun of the Dead. So.
Oh yeah.
You know how I love zombies. And then the old. Okay, this shows how old I am. I don't know if anyone remembers that game. Zombies Ate My Neighbor. That was just.
No,
oh my gosh, it was so
one.
fun. Chainsaws. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, it was adorable.
I like the Shaun of the Dead, the cricket bat. Yeah, that's a zombie.
So the myths about zombies. Mm-hmm. Start us off, Ken.
Well, without going into that, I'll let you cover the Haitian part. People have, asked, is this possible? Like, you remember the zombie thing, and chemicals go into the ground, and then you hear this music, and then they all come out like Michael Jackson's Thrillers.
Night of the Living Dead, who can forget it?
And then Reanimator, the authors, H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes, those are very, very popular.
This is not possible unless it is a demonic puppet. We talked about dolls in another episode that you can check out. It's not possible unless they are animating it to emulate it, or they're still living and they're possessed or hypnotized, controlled in some way. Mm-hmm. Because you can be one of those guys that do those funny things where they made that one guy think that it was Claudia Schiffer that was sitting on his lap and not a broom. Under hypnosis, it's like it's comedy. Yeah. And you can probably put someone under a power of suggestion in a hypnosis right in front of everybody, and then walk him around like a zombie. And what if they can indefinitely stay that way because they were given certain drugs continually to keep them in this kind of subconscious state?
Danny Kaye played a jester in that old movie, in the court jester, where the magician would snap him in and snap him out. It was hilarious.
Oh yeah,
making fun of mesmerizing. Now we know Mr. Mesmer was perfecting it, but this has been around.
Ah, that's
this
right.
Has been
that's
around
where
for many years. Yeah, mesmerize.
Isn't that something?
Yes, because he basically perfected the tools to mesmerize and hypnotize people.
How about that?
Yes,
I didn't know that. See, I talk to you, I learn something new every day.
Well,
even if it's live on camera.
Oh, well, it's just, it's absolutely amazing. It's kind of nice, people find out both of us, between the two of us, we're such a wealth of experience and information. And that's the nice thing about not messing each other's lives up when we were 20.
Yeah. I wish I would have known you when you're 20. That'd be good for later entertainment.
No.
The zombie apocalypse thing is a little different because we're talking about one individual, and since it can happen from chemicals, what if it could happen because some sort of mass, like plankton from SpongeBob, mass hypnosis done over media or TV.
Oh my goodness.
There was one where something's in the drinking water, but it turned them into zombies. What if it's a drug that's known for its properties to put you into a subconscious state, and then you're made vulnerable to a media signal that actually, orders you to kill each other.
We've got conspiracy theorists right now trying to convince us that due to the fluoridation and chlorination of our water for the last 75, 80 years, the heavier doses have turned us all into zombies. White bread, yeast-sucking, sugar-smacking, Kentucky Fried loving zombies. Now, conspiracy theories aside, I do have to agree, there is a certain number of tests that go along with you should not, if there's a way you cannot drink regular tap water, you ought to be drinking bottled water, because the fluoridation levels and chlorine levels are definitely not healthy, and there's so many tests to prove why. Some of the darkest Russian and German experiments have included feeding people large amounts of fluoridation and chlorine. It does break down your will in your mental capacity to think. It does basically turn you into a zombie because you can't make choices. You literally need a handler, just like one of those zombies in the movies. Mm-hmm. And that's the ugly side of fluoridation and chlorination, which, most of the people in our nation think is perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. So, it's not a matter of not drinking the Kool-Aid, it's not drinking the city water. That's one of the theories.
Yeah.
And that's one way that we could all be massively exposed to some sort of debilitating chemical other than the fluoridation is if we were drinking the water, we would all basically have some sort of bacterial microbe running around in our brain, turning us into factory workers. We're like Lucille Ball, we're trying to shove the chocolates in the box and then eat them.
Or you might be perpetuated to work on the Hillary for president campaign.
Oh, mercy.
Little political joke there.
Okay.
Speaking of, things, going off of the topic a little bit, but, well, I guess not.
Not really. Zombies are
This was
pretty fun.
A thought of the Christian perspective, which is, we're Catholic and the old Christian. And that is that one of the reasons why it was unique and miraculous, Jesus raised from the dead, it has never happened. Even in the name of God.
Not with all the number of witnesses that witnessed him. Not with the number of witnesses.
There's not a recorded, they might have thought they raised from the dead, but they weren't. But see, Jesus was beaten so badly, they thought he would have died after the scourging.
Yes.
So he's definitely dead. He got pierced with a sword, and only water came out, and a little bit of blood.
Yes.
So it was like it was putting clear in their mind that Jesus was indeed dead. And then he's seen and he's raised from the dead, and he left his tomb. And so it has not been done before. Satan cannot raise the dead. He can only animate it.
Satan can't even make a baby.
So that's the thing we're talking about. He can't create life, and he can't raise the dead.
He can't reanimate life either. And
So,
the other myth that we're going to discuss next is vampirism, which is kind of a raising from the dead too. But let's finish off with the zombies.
Yeah, that's what's interesting about all this stuff. It has some truth in it. We're going to help you dispel with that.
It really does. And what Ken was wanting me to talk about was and they do have this in South America too.
Yeah.
The wonderful thing about this earth is that it contains so many natural chemical substances that can do miraculous things. We haven't even explored, a tenth of them. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with Serpent in the Rainbow, which actually was based on a true story. They took elements out like Hollywood does, and part of the element was an actual concoction that you could drink that would allow your heart rate to slow down so much that you would barely be breathing, you would be considered dead, and you could be buried. And then you could be woken up again a day, 2 or 3, and people would think that you were dead, and it would have affected your nervous, your limbic, and your pineal gland, some glands in the head, from what I can remember, and you would appear to be a zombie. You would actually need a handler. You would need somebody to help you eat, and that sort of thing. You would basically not have your full functions. But you would be raised from the dead. And the witch doctor that had performed the ceremony would be lauded, and he'd be making money hand over fist. He'd be awarded, everything from livestock to land to cash. And there are also concoctions in the heart of South America that basically do the same thing. Can turn you into literally the dead, that you can be woken later. And these are natural substances that are available. That's what's pretty strange, that it mimics, making a zombie. Yeah. But as far as, somebody actually dying and then, getting that virus that turns them into a flesh-eating killing machine, men are like that normally. They really don't need to die to do that.
Well, don't forget what possession is too. Just look at Linda Blair. She was just walking around instead of sitting in a bed the whole time. Possession would turn you into a cannibal, violent and animal-like,
and cause you to bite other human beings with intense fervor.
Yeah, we assume too that they would have to be refed some drug to keep them in this sort of state.
Yes.
But what about if it damaged it, like Dr. Psychologists from the old days, doing the ice pick in the ear, creating lobotomies. Isn't that horrid? That's why they haven't come that far from that.
No, not at all.
They still don't have a cure for cancer, and look at this barbaric chemo.
They don't have a cure for a lot of things, but then again, when we decide that we're going to derive all our health cures from, chemical cocktails instead of looking to natural food. That's what's creating developing an increasing need of pharmacopoeia as opposed to natural cures and holistic resources that our bodies are meant to be living strong and healthy for a long time and not rely on all these chemicals. As a matter of fact, we were just talking about that on a Facebook post about vitamin D. A lack of vitamin D causes you to look like a zombie. You look pale, worn, washed out. You have no energy. You have serious thoughts of sadness. It causes depression and suicide. Now, when you get your vitamin D back, and that's just exposure to the sun. You can absorb that naturally.
Yeah.
We've got lots of kids now that are playing on video games and not playing in the sun, not going outside in the sun.
Yeah.
That and vitamin
tasty,
C, which they found out vitamin C caused rickets 100 years ago. Where our children are not getting this. What are they going to pass to their children?
Yeah, but birth effects and so forth. And
So
and
this
who knows
this
what
is
mental-
our zombie apocalypse. Our food situation. That's my opinion. Our
Part of
food,
it anyway,
our
'cause
food
it's
situation. Yes, part of
They
it's
combine.
spiritual, and where's the stewardship of the food?
It sounds like a comedy, thinking they got their Game Boys in their back pocket or, whatever, the Nintendo DS 3D.
So our zombies
Yeah.
real. Let's wrap this up. Our zombies are real.
Not in the way Hollywood presents it.
No.
It's more like they're like possessed or in a hypnotic state, being programmed by using drugs and so forth.
But as we walk into any mall, Walmart, and we see people on their phones like this,
That's another kind of zombie.
total different techno zombie.
Thanks for
We got plenty of those. Thanks for joining us tonight. And don't forget, Satan's already won the battle. Head's already been smashed. But hey, Ken and I were here to help you fight the good fight while we're here. If you ever need help with what you think might be a zombie, call us so we can laugh with you. 573. Go ahead.
573-990-1333. Swords of St. Michael.org is our website. And you can go to CatholicDemonologist.com for educational resources, including the books and videos and audiobooks.
We've got lots of them, so don't hesitate to contact us. And good night.
Good night.